Wasted World of Sports, ahoy! Welcome along to the Rugby World Cup final. The time is finally here. Both teams have worked extremely hard to get there. This might be the first Rugby World Cup final that I can remember where both participating nations have suffered defeat in the pool stages. Seems to be going on a little bit at the moment, that though. Major League Baseball, if anybody's following along, for the first time I can remember, 2 wildcard teams in the World Series. But anyway, that's got nothing to do with this one. The Rugby World Cup has all come down to this as Zoolander continues to perform in the pregame. Don't know what's going on with this pregame entertainment, but the big news to come out of this game so far, well, the pregame, I should say, the big news is the weather continues to worsen. The rain is tumbling. Who does that favour? I have to give a slight nod to South Africa if the rain continues. New Zealand, of course, no strangers to wet weather rugby, but I have to give South Africa a slight advantage going into this one, especially as the rain continues to make its way down. We draw ever closer to kickoff. 59% favouring the Springboks. The heart says the All Blacks. The head says, my prediction, I want to say the Springboks by 5. I think they'll be leading by 2 points going into the last 10 minutes, and then a penalty goal will stretch that out to a 5-point lead. And that's where it will remain for the rest of the match. Let's see how accurate I am. Both teams in the sheds now, in the tunnel, ready to come out onto the field. Oh, you can feel the tension. The atmosphere must be extremely tense there, as you would imagine it to be. Steely looks on the faces of all the players gearing up for this one. Springboks versus the All Blacks. Both teams come out onto the park now, past the World Cup trophy. Who will have a majority of the support too? That's the other question. The Springboks, defending champions, but the All Blacks, no strangers to lifting that trophy either, of course. Sam Whitelock, big moment for him. Can he go out a winner? It's hard to even fathom that the All Blacks are here, considering how they've been in the World Cup cycle leading up to this moment. You would not have rated them any chance of being here, yet here they are. As the teams line up for the national anthems, the rain continues to just drizzle down. It's not strong, it's not heavy, but it will be enough to just put some question marks around expansive play. Some red hot tips. Well, I've already told you what I think the result will be. I think South Africa win by 5. In a low scoring affair, it might be something like 18 points to 13. Somewhere in that region, I'm thinking. A very low scoring match. Wow, Sam Whitelock, those ears have got some battle stories. Dan Jam, ahoy mate. Just in time for my predictions, where I've predicted South Africa to win in a tight one by 5 points. Let's go Aaron Smith, anytime try scorer for the All Blacks. And for South Africa, Cheslin Colby's just been absolutely on fire, but I've got to go Ardense for anytime try scorer for the Springboks. Both of the South African wingers have been in sublime form, though, I must say. So let's go. Springboks by 5. Aaron Smith and Adonse, anytime try scorers. If you want to combine that for a 3-leg multi, I'm sure that would be a pretty little payout. But let's see. The New Zealand national anthem rings out across the stadium. And there it is. That's what they're all playing for. That nice, shiny gold trophy. It's crazy to think how many times both these teams have been there. Needless to say, very important start for both teams. I feel like the All Blacks could come out of the blocks firing. Maybe even pinch an early try. But South Africa, they have that ability, especially against the All Blacks, to just grind away, get themselves back into the game. Be interesting to see which version of the Haka gets pulled out tonight as well. Obviously a very big occasion. Fabio Faf, there he is. A very crucial cog in that Springbok machine. Fabio Faf. You would think so, Dan Jam. You certainly would think so. Big occasion. They always seem to break it out for the big occasions. And there's no bigger than a Rugby World Cup final. I recall there was a time when Capo first came about. And it was the Wallabies who were the first nation to complain about the supposed throat-slitting gesture. Oh, here we go. This is it. Black Mortem, ahoy there. The first time since 1995 that these two teams were in a final together. It is going to be interesting, and I can tell you that back in 1995, little Dan watching the Rugby World Cup final with great interest. And what an epic that was, going into extra time. Imagine if we get extra time in this one. I don't think my heart could take it. Here we go, the All Blacks march forward in formation. What's it gonna be? I've got to turn my TV up for a second. I want to hear this. I usually have the TV down very low so that I don't hear the commentary. But I want to hear every second of this as the All Blacks throw down the challenge. And the Springboks stare down and accept that challenge. And there we go. It is Kapoango. Things just got very, very real. Connor Crowley, ahoy, mate. Heart says All Blacks, but the head leaning towards the Springboks. Connor Crowley, I reckon Springboks by 5. The rain seems to have eased up a little bit. Not as noticeable there on the cameras. Captain Sam Cane front and centre as the challenge is laid down. And if there's a team that's ever going to bring it, the Springboks will be it. This is it. This is what we've all been waiting for. Rugby World Cup final time. I'm excited. Bright and early, 5 a.m. here in Brisbane, Australia. It was hard to get up and get going for this one, but I wasn't going to miss it for the world. Not like last night. I was actually supposed to be covering the bronze final as well. I woke up for it. I was up, came into the studio, got the computer, switched on and everything, and I just went, can't do it, can't do it. And I missed quite an epic encounter as well. Tapions, ahoy. I hope I said that correctly. Tapions, where am I from? Brisbane, Australia, streaming live from the land down under. Australia, of course, their worst ever World Cup performance. Hardly surprising, though. They're quite a terrible, terrible team at the moment, the Wallabies. Dan Jam says it's the last time that you'll need to be up, though. Well done on a quality coverage thus far. Thank you very much, Dan Jam. I'm sure it must be fantastic to finally have some streams at a reasonable hour for you. Huh? I'll drink to that. The All Blacks will be kicking off. Springboks to receive. Let's get this show underway. Wayne Barnes waiting for the signal from the TV director. Remember when they used to just blow time on and that was it? We remember well. Now it's all about the TV coverage. And he's been given the signal and it is time on. Geordie Barrett, Bowden Barrett, Scott Barrett, everybody Barrett. Barretts are us. Dan Jam says, I suppose the next big rugby event will be the Lions in Australia in a couple of years. Well, it's hard to describe that really as a big event at the moment, as the All Blacks win their first line out and spread it wide early, and they've created an overlap to the right. Will Jordan has it, puts the kick in straight down the throat at the back there. And South Africa call the mark and clear it well up to the halfway line. Willemse at the back. And South Africa have signalled their intentions early. They are not going to play any ball out of their own 22. They are just thumping it straight upfield, not going into any contact. Cody Taylor throws to the middle. The All Blacks win the line out again. Mo'unga takes it to the line and pops out the back. It's loose. And Taylor will dive on it. Scrappy play there from the All Blacks. Taylor does well to recuperate. Smith has it at the back of the ruck. Savia beats one. Good meters made there. Look for the clearance here. Smith with the box kick. Puts it high. The chase is good. And it's spilled forward there by Willemse. All Blacks get a result. Crunched at the back, a big hit. Puts Mo'unga folding in half. But Wayne Barnes is surely still playing advantage for a knock-on. It doesn't look like it, though. Now he calls it. We're going back for the knock-on. Dan Jam says it's a bit too early to call a scrum from the mark. A little bit. I still can't believe that they've been calling that anyway. It's such a big call. Risky call. I don't think they'll do it against the All Blacks. And we have an injury stoppage here. This could be huge. 2.5 minutes in, and South Africa could be losing somebody here. You don't want to lose your starting hooker 2.5 minutes into the contest. And they're just going to have a little look here, the TMO, a cheeky little look at that contact from Shannon Frizzell. He fell off his feet over the ruck and onto the knees. And here we go, Wayne Barnes has called for a review. This could be huge. This could be massive. 2.5 minutes in, a game-changing moment, potentially. We're looking at the contact here. Shannon Frizzell falling over the ruck. Going off his feet, over the ruck, onto the knee. And in all honesty, it's going to be very hard to argue against this. It's going to be very, very difficult to argue otherwise, but Shannon Frizzell in big trouble here. And 2.5 minutes in, a yellow card to Shannon Frizzell, and that could very easily be upgraded to red. Do not be surprised if that gets upgraded. If they've called it a neck roll, and he's gone straight over the ruck, off his feet, onto the knee, injured the player, this could be upgraded to red. And 2.5 minutes into the Rugby World Cup final, and Shannon Frizzell is taking a seat, and I dare say he'll be staying there. Kanye Ketchup, ahoy mate. That's a mistake Akira Ioane wouldn't have made, says Kanye Ketchup. And South Africa are going to take a shot at 3 here from a long way out. I have no doubts that Andre Pollard is... well, it's actually not that far out, is it? Okay. I thought this happened on the halfway line. But no, this is actually a very easy kick. Just to the left of the post. About 25 meters out, probably on the angle. And this is a gift 3 points. Gift 3-pointer for the Springboks. And they have started very, very well. Juan Pierre, ahoy. Welcome along. Rugby World Cup final. A near perfect start for the Springboks. Signaled their intentions early. They've not played any ball inside their own 22. And some big, big moments in this game already. 2.5 minutes in. Shannon Frizzell, a yellow card that will almost certainly be upgraded to a red. Almost certainly. All Blacks get us back underway. South Africa will go into contact, form the ruck, and look for a clearance straight away. De Klerk's got it at the back. Box kick up towards halfway. It's taken at the back by Mo'unga, and he's swamped immediately. All Blacks have it on halfway. Big Bad Brody puts the head down and charges forward. Nowhere to go, though. It feels like there's just a hush over this game at the moment. The All Blacks are man down early. South Africa could do a lot of damage in this period. Cut out pass, and Talea up over halfway, he rolls. Bonham Barrett beats it on to Ethan de Groot. South Africa need to roll away. Losing ground here rapidly, the All Blacks. They can't penetrate this defense at all, and they've lost a lot of ground. Now, 15 meters their own side of halfway. 8 phases and they've gone backwards. Smith with no other option here. Box kick. Solid defensive work from the box. Taken at the back by Pollard. They try to hold him up, the All Blacks, but they can't. He goes to ground, and the Springboks can set up a clearing ruck here. De Klerk has it at the back. He wants some protection. It will be another box kick here. De Klerk puts it high. Perfectly placed again, and up and challenging for the ball. Arunze. He almost comes away with it as well. The All Blacks are under the pump big time here. Smith back to Beauden Barrett. Puts the ball high, contestable. And taken at the back by Willemse. South Africa, they're just doing everything right at the moment. De Allende into contact. Pollard puts a little chip in over top, turning Will Jordan around. Jordan juggles, puts a loose pass out the back. The All Blacks are feeling the pinch now. South Africa counter ruck, but Beauden Barrett does well to get back there and rescue that situation. Oh, the All Blacks' nerves. They're rattled, clearly. 6 minutes 20, they've still got to get through this period of play. Frizzell, his yellow card still under review. As Aaron Smith gets the box kick away. Up towards halfway. Not looking for touch. Willemse takes it. Gets the offload away. And Steph du Toit, what's he doing out there on the wing? South Africa making meters. A couple of plays out from the ruck. Esterbeth takes on Sam Cane. Making meters at will here. Now some space out to the right. The pass a little bit behind Arunze. And he has to turn around, reach back for it. And that shuts that play down before it really gets started. Kitchoff. Kitchoff was a bit of a penalty machine in the semi-final. Now the ball goes high, contestable, pressure on the All Blacks. It's loose. It's picked up by Geordie Barrett. Thumps it into touch, but that is a great net result for South Africa. They will have the line out inside the All Blacks 22. Oh, they're playing well, South Africa. You get the feeling, though, they need points during this sin bin period. But they are playing perfect quality wet weather rugby. And those kicks are just pinpoint accurate. And the All Blacks, they're scrambling. They're under the pump. And they're clearly rattled. Dan Jam says the box scrum is really going to suffer. That is obviously in reference to losing their starting hooker 4 minutes into the game. And it looks like that decision of line out might be a scrum that's going down here by the looks of it. The first scrum of the game. So let's find out, Dan Jam. This is where it will be tested. 5 minutes left in the bin for Frizzell. That card still under review. Okay, Shannon Frizzell, the yellow is remaining a yellow. So after 5 minutes, he can come back onto the field. First scrum of the game, let's see. South Africa with a slight advantage at scrum time in the weights. All right, let's go. They bind. They set. The first scrum of the match. It's a big shunt from the Springboks, and it's loose at the back from the All Blacks. They secure possession, though, just. But New Zealand under the pump. 10 out from their own line. Big defense from the Springboks. Smith has it at the back of the ruck. Box kick time. High it goes. Looking for touch. Just looking to slow this game down. South Africa realise. And they threaten the quick throw. It's not going to happen, though. Not that far back. Dan Jam, not sure I agree with that decision. They do go quickly, the Springboks. And they spread it wide immediately. Delende into contact, and he is wrestled to ground by Savia and driven backwards. South Africa look to set up a maul from general play. You don't see that very often. Box kick now from de Klerk. It's contestable again at the back, and Mo'unga this time takes it and calls mark. They're doing extremely well to hold on here, though, the All Blacks. They're a little bit panicky, but they are just holding on. Mo'unga puts it upfield, doesn't find touch. Willemse brings it back, puts the ball high. Moving forward and taking it, Mo'unga, close to the sideline. The ruck is formed, though, and Smith has it at the back. Lomax goes to ground. Just getting a little bit better field position here for an Aaron Smith box kick. He's told to use it, controls it at the back. Box kick, up. Waiting for it on halfway. Cheslin Colby looking for space, puts the kick cross-field. It hits the target, and Willemse puts the head down. Grubbers in, and Bowden Barrett will take it at the back and run it into touch. South Africa are absolutely kicking the All Blacks to death at the moment. But they continue to scramble and hold on. It was not the best kick in the world from Cheslin Colby, but it worked out perfectly. And this match so far, it's all South Africa. The All Blacks are just defending. And they'll be forced to defend again here. A line out. 15 out from their line. South Africa win it, uncontested. They set up the maul. It's perfectly formed here, perfectly. They grind forward here, South Africa. It breaks away. Still going forward. Dangerously close to the touchline. And now Detoy brings it back in field. All Blacks look to counter. They can't. Moster. De Klerk now out to Malherbe. They're getting closer. Kitchoff. Cutting back in field. There is Pollard. Now out to the left. Willemse tries to get on the outside of Will Jordan. Colby is forced back in field. He swivels. Goes to ground. They're 5 out, the Springboks. Malher. Going forward. De Klerk has been held on the ground here. And that will be a penalty. And this, another gift 3 points. But don't be surprised if they put this into the corner. I mean, I would take the 3. Always take the 3. But they could thump this into the corner. The rolling maul looked like it was on for all money. They're coming back and taking the 3 here. Smart decision. Smart decision here to take the 3. And it's about to be 6-0 in favour of South Africa in this Rugby World Cup final. I just had this feeling, Dan Jam, this sneaky suspicion that they're so far on top at the moment. A try would just break this game apart. I think New Zealand, at this stage, will be more than happy to give away the 3 points. Because after this, Frizzell will be back on the park, back to a full complement. I dare say that they'll be happy to just give away the 3. Over it goes, 6 points to 0. South Africa leading and dominating this Rugby World Cup final thus far. But the All Blacks now back to a full complement. Frizzell comes back on. Can the All Blacks turn things around now? Back to a 15-on-15 scenario. Barrett with the kickoff. Down into the 22. The Springboks look for the box kick. De Klerk has got it at the back. Fabio Faf. Setting it up. Box kick away. It is high. It's contestable again. The All Blacks get in each other's way there. And they might get away with it. It's come off the Springboks into touch. All Blacks go quickly. Geordie Barrett. Dummies. It goes into contact. They just can't seem to penetrate this halfway line. But now, some space opens up. And Frizzell, freshly back onto the field, marches up the sideline. Penalty advantage here for the All Blacks. And we come back to the halfway line. It's a long way out to consider the 3. What a statement it would be, though, if they plug this into the corner and come away with a try. Can you imagine? Geordie Barrett is doing just that. I think it's a little bit too far out on the angle for any of the All Blacks kickers. A great little wraparound play there from Richie Mo'unga, putting Frizzell into space. And it nets a result here for the All Blacks. Line out. 22 out from the Springbok line. Shuffling around everywhere. Scott Barrett takes it in the middle. The All Blacks release it. And now space opens up. Geordie Barrett is crunched. What a big hit that was. Who made that tackle? Peter Steph du Toit folded Geordie Barrett in half and then some. Folded him up like an origami swan. That was immense. The All Blacks have it though. 15 out. They pick and go. They earn a penalty advantage and a gift 3 points incoming now for the All Blacks. Frizzell picks it up, goes on his own. They know they've got the penalty advantage. Talea. They're not doing anything too expansive though. Mo'unga, wrap around again. Mo'unga taps it on. Barrett plants it out the back to his brother Scott. 9 phases now. All Blacks still on the attack. Still under penalty advantage. 10th phase. Frizzell in midfield. Got a lot to make up for. Geordie Barrett puts the chip in over the top. It's going to fall for Savia. It bounces away from him at the last minute. Oh, the try was on there. It was just a bounce of the rugby ball away from a 5-pointer. We come back for the penalty, though, right in front, and a gift 3 points here. But that was so desperately nearly a try. The bounce of the rugby ball, huh? That could have gone absolutely anywhere else apart from the direction it did, and the All Blacks score. A kind bounce for Willemse and the Springboks. Boy, that was close, though. That was a real wake-up call. That was an intense little passage of play. That would have been a real match turner. Absolutely amazing that would have been. Gift 3 points here on the offering. Oh, anguish on the face there. Jordie Barrett knows how close that was. The ball just desperately bouncing away from Ardie Savea. Penalty goal successful from Richie Mo'unga, and it is 6 points to 3. The All Blacks, points on the board. Back in it. 6-3. Pollard with the restart. Goes deep into the 22. Rieko Ioane has it. Goes into contact. Look for a Smith box kick. All Blacks control it at the base of the ruck. 22 out, Smith. Box kick. Puts it up. Will Jordan flying through here. But no contest on Willemse at the back. Willemse pleading for a high tackle. Wayne Barnes says, no, I'm not falling for that nonsense. All Blacks counter. Oh, hard done by there, Ardie Savea. And it is a penalty. And now an opportunity at 3 here for Pollard. South Africa could immediately nullify the All Blacks penalty goal with this. Wayne Barnes just admitting there that Savea was a little hard done by, as everybody just saw the replay on the big screen. It's nice to apologise and everything there from referee Wayne Barnes, but it would have been nice that he got it right in the first place. Pollard moves in, strikes it well, it's on target, it's just over the crossbar. And the Springboks wipe out that All Blacks penalty goal and reinstate their 6-point lead. 19 minutes gone. Oh, this game feels like it's been going forever. We're only 19 minutes into it. Just a quarter of the match gone. Barrett gets us back underway. South Africa claim it inside the 22 again. What do you think they're going to do? Box kick? Box kick, anyone? I think box kick. De Klerk has it at the back. Setting himself up. Box kick! Upfield it goes. And it's going into touch. Not a lot of distance made, but secure over the touchline. The All Blacks will have the line-out throw just shy of the halfway line. In an absolutely unbelievable statistic, 61% of possession has gone the way of the All Blacks in this first 20 minutes. That's crazy to think, because the Springboks have been so dominant. You wouldn't have imagined that the All Blacks had that much ball. The throw into the line-out. Retallick wins it in the middle. The All Blacks release it. Short pass from Jordie Barrett to Rieko Ioane, who burst through. But he's taken down in the cover defense. Cut out pass and Jordan spills it. Will Jordan spills the loose ball, and the South African defense up in the faces, putting pressure on. Yeah, so 61% possession to the All Blacks, Dan Jam, but 71% territory in favour of the Springboks. That's the real telling stat. The All Blacks have had the ball, but they've had all the ball bringing it out of their own end of the field. Scrum down. South Africa ball. The All Blacks just struggling in the face of this defense to get any rhythm together on attack. Hey, Danjam, the Olympic Games are coming up apparently in July 2024. Maybe wasted World of Sports Olympics coverage. I'd be down for that. Certain events anyway. Scrum is down. It's a stalemate situation. The All Blacks. The scrum holds firm. Springboks release it. A kick across field, and it just dribbles over the sideline. Paris 2024 Summer Olympics. Yeah, there you go. Beach volleyball. I love me some beach volleyball. All Blacks here with the throw into the line-out. Commentators cursing coming, but they've been very secure at line-out time. It's sloppy out the back. Smith releases it to midfield. Mo'unga, change of direction here from Geordie Barrett. Geordie Barrett, I've got to say, he has really developed into this role of inside centre. I actually had him on the chopping block last season. Back to Mo'unga on halfway. Puts the ball high. Contestable kick. It's Geordie Barrett going through. Tries to tap it back. It falls out the back and Willemse is crunched and driven over the sideline. All Blacks will have a throw into the line out. Talea threatens to go quickly, but that would have been lunacy. Thinks better of it. Yeah, I think honestly I prefer the Winter Olympics because you've got the curling. I love the curling. You've got the bobsled and the luge. Stolen in the middle of the line out. Estebeth gets up and pinches it for South Africa. De Klerk's got it at the back. 24 minutes gone. South Africa leading by 6. De Klerk. Box kick. Nothing out of the ordinary here from the Springboks. Mo'unga at the back. Passes to Beauden Barrett. Looking for space. The Springboks more than happy to have the All Blacks run at them from distance. Mo'unga to Talea. Talea tries to beat the defence. Can't do it. South Africa all over this ball. Looking for the turnover. He was completely off his feet there. How he has gotten away with that, I will never know. But the Springboks come away with it. Number 16 there, Dion Fourie, was so far off his feet by the end of that. And South Africa clear into touch on halfway. Novak Djokovic in the crowd. Dan James says we get more curling coverage than any other bit of the Winter Olympics because it's one of the few events where we might medal. The editor, ahoy there. The editor just says New Zealand. I love the curling. I'm a big fan of the South Korean women's team. Knocked on here by South Africa at line-out time. The All Blacks line-out, though, has become an absolute shambles since I put the commentator's curse on and said that it's going so well. No, the editor, my pre-game prediction, South Africa by 5. That was my pre-game call. South Africa by 5. Cheslin Colby, anytime try scorer. Aaron Smith, anytime try scorer for the All Blacks. The throw goes in over the top. And I tell you what, ever since I said how well the All Blacks lineout is going, they have not won a single throw since. Unbelievable. The editor asks where I'm from. Brisbane, Australia. So bright and early here, 5:30 in the morning, bringing you all the coverage here of the Rugby World Cup final as the Springboks clear. Up over halfway, Will Jordan comes down with it. Passes it across now to Talea. Beats one, but he's running crossfield, Talea. Smith has it at the back of the ruck. Lomax into contact. Trying something a little bit different here, the All Blacks. Referee Barnes says use it, and Smith puts the box kick up. It's taken by Pollard at the back. The difference between the two teams right now as the All Blacks pile in and look to counter ruck. But South Africa maintain possession. And now spilt forward. Dropped forward by Estebeth. Oh, sorry, Estebeth. It was Moster. Many apologies to Iban Estebeth. Yeah, what was I saying? What was I on about? Oh, yeah, the difference between the two teams at the moment is South Africa, when they put their kicks up, they're contestable. Everything is contestable. When the All Blacks put the kicks up, they're just going a little bit too deep, and South Africa are able to take the ball. Now, they're getting crunched as soon as they catch it, but the kicks are not contestable. Wayne Barnes has gone to the TMO here. We're looking for some potential foul play. Oh, we're looking at a high shot here. Oh, Sam Cane could be done here. Sam Cane. Oh, the All Blacks about to suffer their second yellow card of the match. Captain Sam Cane about to be binned. Oh, this is huge. This is massive. First, Shannon Frizzell. Now Sam Cane, and the All Blacks are down to 14 again. Wow. Shoulder contact direct to the face. And Sam Cane, well, I honestly thought that Frizzell was in a spot of bother, but that's pretty clear cut. I don't think Sam Cane's coming back. South Africa with the man advantage again. Pollard with the penalty kick into touch from inside the 22. He finds touch just short of halfway. It's all good, the editor. I appreciate the thought, but really not necessary. Line out throw on halfway here for the Springboks. In it goes, stolen at the front by big bad Brodie Retallick. And Talea runs over the top of the first Springbok defender. New Zealand ball on halfway. Geordie Barrett out to Bowden. Bowden finds a little bit of space, puts the kick in over the top. It's a horror bounce. It's going over the dead ball line, and it's coming all the way back for a scrum down. Things are just not going right here for the All Blacks. Dan Jam says, it's only after watching a load of NRL that I've begun to see how similar the All Blacks' backs attacks are to NRL players. Drive straight and burst through. All the way back upfield we go. A scrum down just inside All Black territory. This is a massive scrum. Big scrum down. 30 minutes gone. Pressure situation. The scrum sets. Oi! The All Blacks, they have to defend here. De Klerk releases it out. Pollard out the back to Colby. Colby, dummies, puts the kick through. In behind the line, needing this to sit up. Adonse gets a boot to the ball. And that expansive play there from the Springboks. They had the All Blacks under pressure there. The lineout is called. I'm not so sure, though. This is a pressure lineout throw now for Cody Taylor. 5 meters out from their own line here, the All Blacks. The lineout has fallen to pieces. Their past few throws. To the back it goes. Scott Barrett comes down with it. Releases it to Smith. Fires it infield to Savia. Wayne Barnes nearly gets caught up in that. That would have been hilarious to see Wayne Barnes taken out. Back to Mo'unga. Mo'unga clears. Not a lot of distance on it. South Africa go quick on halfway. And Willemse sets up a drop goal. The drop goal falls short. And Barrett can clear. Not finding touch. Willemse fires it infield to Pollard. Will he have a go? No, he doesn't. It's to Cheslin Colby. Just dinks it in over the line. Will Jordan's got it at the back and he's crunched by Steph Dutoy. All Blacks under pressure. Smith has got it at the back of the ruck to Artie Savia, and they're up quickly on him. Smith to Lomax. This defense, they're all over the top of this. South Africa have won a penalty. This is huge defense. This is immense from the Springboks. They are about to go 9 points clear here. And Sam Cane, all he can do is sit on the bench and watch. The Springboks dominating every facet of this game. Dan Jam asks what the odds are of the All Blacks number 8. That Artie Savia, that is. Artie Savia gets carded next to make it the 6, 7, 8. And in huge news, massive news, the All Blacks have lost their captain for the rest of the match. Sam Cane has been upgraded to a red card, and that is huge. Massive, massive moment. That is massive. That is the World Cup gone. South Africa, this is theirs to lose now. Sam Cane has been red carded. The All Blacks captain, red carded, and that is the World Cup. That is the World Cup final done and dusted. South Africa extend their lead 12 points to 3. Sam Cane, the captain of the All Blacks, red carded. And no wonder they are celebrating in the crowd. South Africa. It will take a bottling of Brisbane Broncos proportions here to lose this match now. 9 points clear. De Klerk just fires it into touch. Not playing any ball inside their own 22. I feel like a hush has just fallen over the stadium. Like, I don't have the TV up very loud because, obviously, calling the game myself, but it feels like a real hush has fallen over the stadium. It's almost as if we know that that is the game. That is the game, done and dusted, as far as the contest goes. All Blacks go to the middle of the line out. Brodie Retallick comes down with it. They set up the maul. Good shape there. Great shape. And marching forward. Smith has it at the back. All Blacks release. Jordie Barrett inside to Talea. Smith to Savia. The All Blacks. A monstrous effort required now. Backs well and truly against the wall. Back it goes to Mo'unga. Change of direction. Ioane back in field. Rehunk official. Ahoy there, mate. How are you doing? De Groot with the flat pass to Frizzell. Nearly squeaks through. They're 22 out now. Jordie Barrett into contact. Plants it back. 8 phases here, the All Blacks. Scott Barrett just settling things down in midfield. The Springboks not committing numbers to the ruck. Happy to just stand back and defend. Talea pokes his nose through. Gets it off to Aaron Smith. Smith plants it back. Quick ball needed here. They're all offside, the Springboks. Will Jordan's got it. Running back in front of the posts. Passes it back to Talea. Oh, Talea dancing his way through, weaving. Oh, he's looked threatening every time he touches the ball. Talea. Now Barrett fires it over the top to Rico Ioane. Rico Ioane for the corner. Loses the ball. South Africa defend well, but we will come back for the penalty. The All Blacks somehow nearly created some space and an overlap. Take the 3. Take the 3, Artie. Yes, the 3 points is on offer, and you can't turn it down. They're under the pump. Get back within striking distance. Oh, this game has still got some life in it. There is a little bit of life left. Richie Mo'unga, a gift 3-pointer here to put the All Blacks back within 6. $12 points to 6. Dan Carter, very forlorn looking figure up in the stands. Probably wishes that he could be out there. If Dan Carter was leading this team around the park, I would still have faith. Springboks get us back underway. Mo'unga clears it immediately. Up over halfway. A great clearing kick there from Richie Mo'unga. 38 minutes, 20 seconds gone in this first half. South Africa controlling this Rugby World Cup final thus far. And with Sam Cane upgraded to a red, it's hard to see where the All Blacks turn this around. But stranger things have happened. The line-out throw is stolen by the All Blacks on halfway. Jordan to Geordie Barrett. Geordie Barrett is absolutely hammered. Peter Steph du Toit again. He is all over Geordie like a bad rash. Now the Springboks release it wide. The kick in over the top is marked at the back. It was only a knock-on advantage, so I would say advantage over. That was such a huge tackle. Peter Steph du Toit has just swarmed poor Geordie Barrett all night. As we draw ever closer to the halftime break, 6 points the difference. South Africa, they will have an opportunity, maybe a drop goal, cheeky little drop goal here, just to push that lead back out and once again nullify All Black points. Over the top it goes and it's knocked on by Lomax, and that will be halftime. 12 points to 6 at the break. I dare say, were it not for the red card, that the All Blacks would be the slightly happier of the two teams as far as the scoreline goes. But that red card changes the whole dynamic of this match. 12 points to 6 at halftime with the red is a monumental lead. More than enough. That was such a huge moment. That Sam Cane red card upgrade was such a massive, massive moment in the game, to state the obvious. And when you think they could have been 2 men down, because honestly, Shannon Frizzell could very easily have been upgraded to a red as well. Things not going the way of the All Blacks here. The bounce of the ball. Painfully close to a try they were in that first half. If the ball just bounced any other direction. But the Springboks just controlling this game with their kicking. Kicking the All Blacks to death. Perfectly, what's the word? Perfectly done. Perfectly executed from the Springboks. Kicking game absolutely on point. Controlling the possession and territory. More importantly, territory. It felt like most of that first half was played down the All Blacks' end. Exactly how the Springboks wanted it. All right, Wasted World of Sports, half time here, 12 points to 6. But the big story of that first half, captain of the All Blacks, Sam Cane, red carded, will not be back. The All Blacks will be playing with 14 men for the rest of this match. Such a massive, massive moment. I'm going to have a quick break for half time. We'll be back right after this. 40 minutes left in the Rugby World Cup of 2023. And this is South Africa's to lose. Second half coming up. All right, Wasted World of Sports, half-time in the Rugby World Cup final. 12 points to 6. The Springboks, that slender advantage. I talked about it pre-game. I thought it was going to be Springboks by 5. It could honestly be a lot more, though, by the end of this one. The big news to come out of this game, of course, Captain Sam Cane red-carded. The All Blacks have spent, what, more than 20 minutes? More than 20 minutes with a man down. Wisdom Marupeni. South Africa wins. This is, honestly, South Africa's game to lose now. They have the lead. They have the extra man advantage for the rest of the game. I will tell you this, though. They have to be so careful, because just one hint of a high shot in the second half by any South African defender, the crowd will be baying for blood, and Wayne Barnes may be left with absolutely no choice but to go red for any hint of a high contact. So they've got to be very careful still. And if it happens early enough, with the score close enough, what a turnaround it could be. I mean, honestly, I hate to be that guy that says referees' decisions manipulate games, but they'll be looking for some degree of a square up in the second half. Don't at all be surprised if you see a Springbok yellow card, at least in the second half. Mr. Ed's dead, ahoy! How you doing, mate? Brenda says, go Bok. $12 points to 6 at halftime. South Africa have been near flawless. I mean, let's appreciate what they've done. Played to the conditions. Played to, you talk about reading the room. Read a room. You hear that all the time. Well, it applies to a rugby match as well. The Springboks are reading the room. They know when to stretch it wide. On the few occasions that they have, they've very nearly made inroads into the All Blacks' defense, turning them around. But for a majority of the game, they've just controlled the territory. The box kicks, they've not played, I don't think, a single ball-playing movement from inside their own half. They've been very clear. We'll kick the ball back to the All Blacks. We're backing our defense. We're more than happy for them to run at us from distance. Get the ball back. Kick it straight back upfield and say, go again. Come at us. And they have executed it flawlessly thus far. And Peter Steph-Toy, the number 7 for the Springboks, Geordie Barrett will be hoping that he leaves the field. Peter Steph-Toy has made Geordie Barrett's evening a living nightmare. Folded him in half like an origami swan during that first half a couple of times. Vincent Gowles says, go Bok. Let's also just take a moment too and appreciate the Springboks, with 10 minutes to go in the semi-final against England, were dead and buried. They were gone. The Springboks were gone in that last 10 minutes. They just turned it around. And here they are, dominating the Rugby World Cup final. What an amazing turnaround. New Zealand have become the first side to receive 2 cards in a men's Rugby World Cup final, with Sam Cane the first player ever to be sent off in a final. huge statistic. Oh, sorry, Dan Jam. I apologize for bringing up bad memories. Here come the teams out for the second half. What a huge, huge effort it's going to take. Michael's Twitch account says, appreciate D's nuts. Funnily enough, D's nuts are actually a band, in case anybody doesn't know. Legitimate band. I have seen them live a couple of times. I have seen D's nuts live a few times. But anyway, that's music conversations are for another time. Both teams are out onto the field for the second half. 40 minutes stands between history for either one of these teams. And what an even bigger chunk of history it would be for the All Blacks if they win this a man down. It's going to take a monstrous effort, though. A red card in the Rugby World Cup. You know, I actually had a dream about that happening. I've been so excited all week, and I had this just nightmare scenario in the lead up that a card was going to dictate this game. I just hope that we still get a contest. If there is a team capable of still giving us that contest, a man down, it is the All Blacks. Probably not these All Blacks, though. If this were the, as I said, if this were the Dan Carter, Richie McCaw era All Blacks, they're probably still going to put up a fight with a man down. Can this All Blacks team dig deep enough and put up a similar fight? They have the ball from the kickoff. The box kick is up towards halfway. South Africa have it. They drive backwards here. The All Blacks in over the top of this ball. Counter ruck is good from Will Jordan. It forces scrappy ball there from the Springboks, but they have it on halfway. All Blacks have got hands all over that one. South Africa release just in the nick of time. Crossfield kick puts Beauden Barrett under pressure. He loses it. Khaleesi comes down with it, and the Springboks will score here surely. The pass is popped back up to Delende. Somehow the All Blacks have held on. This is amazing. Incredible defense. Absolutely unbelievable defense there from the All Blacks. That was the World Cup there in the balance. The All Blacks defending for their lives. Geordie Barrett now with the goal line dropout. De Klerk leaves it for Willemse. Willemse sets up the drop goal. It's a shocker. An absolute dead set shocker from Damian Willemse. And the All Blacks bring it back to the 22 for another dropout. Geordie Barrett again. That's a much better purchase. South Africa have it. What a run from Vermeulen up to halfway. Cody Taylor gets in over the ball. Counter ruck is good here for the All Blacks. Jeez. Referee Barnes is not giving the All Blacks an inch here at ruck time. A couple of times, surely penalisable from the Springboks holding on. No love at all at ruck time from Wayne Barnes tonight. South Africa have the ball. Halfway, back it goes to Pollard. Puts it high, crossfield, contestable again. And Beauden Barrett spills it again. And away go the Springboks. Into touch. We come back for the knock on. And Beauden Barrett is having a nightmare at the back. A decision needs to be made, and it needs to be made quick, smart, because Beauden Barrett is not having a good time of it at the back here tonight. Scrum down for the Springboks. The second half has started very much like the first. South Africa kicking the All Blacks to death. Getting the ball back. Beauden Barrett twice in a row spilling the high balls. Scrum down. About 30 out on this near side of the field. Big scrum here. The All Blacks trying to get the shove on. South Africa just hold it at the back of the scrum. De Klerk breaks away. Fires it across. Delende to Cheslin. Colby to Willemse. Puts the grubber kick through. Turning Beauden Barrett around. And Beauden Barrett stands and watches the ball. Aronsay has potentially stolen one here. Beauden Barrett's nightmare might just be continuing. Oh, he's lost it. Aronsay drops the ball painfully close, but Beauden Barrett, his head is not in this game. He's dropped 2 high balls in a row, and he just stood there and nearly watched as the World Cup was nearly stolen away by Aronsay. Pressure throw. Over the back they go, the All Blacks. Crunched is Ardie Savea. They have the ball, though. They're just holding on by the skin of their teeth here. Pressure on Mo'unga. He gets the kick away, but not a lot of distance. They're still inside the 22 here. Springboks with the throw into the line out. Beauden Barrett, what was he doing? Just watching, ball watching. Ian Foster, honestly, has a huge decision to make. A massive, massive call needs to be made on Beauden Barrett. Something is not quite right there. That one boy my. Go Bok. Tana Umaga. Oh, we're having a look. Here we go. This could be the turning point in this Rugby World Cup final. I've said that a couple of times tonight, haven't I? There's been a couple of turning points. This could be another massive one. TMO review for high contact. Khaleesi's in trouble here. Khaleesi is in trouble here. South Africa are about to lose their captain. And I told you at halftime, there's going to be a square up. And Siya Khaleesi. Now South Africa lose their captain. $14 on 14, at least for the next 10 minutes. Both teams down their captain. Unbelievable. Geordie Barrett thumps it into touch, and the All Blacks have to strike. They have to strike, and they have to do it in the next 10 minutes. I told you there would be a square up at some point. And that was well and truly a square up. 12 points to 6, only 6 minutes gone in this second half. All Blacks go to the back. Scott Barrett comes down with it. Releases it. Savia grinding forward. Smith with the box kick. Talea might have been a step offside there. Pressure on at the back. Talea steals it away. The All Blacks have it now. The best field position they've had in a very long time. Savea to Geordie Barrett, and Mo'unga drops it. Richie Mo'unga and Beauden Barrett, two very important cogs in this All Blacks attack, have just fallen to pieces here tonight. And it will be a scrum down to South Africa, and this will very importantly chew up some minutes on the clock. But in these wet weather conditions, Beauden Barrett and Richie Mo'unga, their handling has abandoned them. It was on there for the All Blacks. It was on. Seven minutes gone only in this second half. This match, honestly, it feels like it's been going for an eternity. And importantly for South Africa, this is just winding down the clock. Khaleesi in the sin bin. The scrum sets. All Blacks look to get a shove on, but South Africa hold firm. Willemse, one out from the ruck, goes to contact. De Klerk has it at the back. Sets it up for Fourie. When's the box kick coming? Here it comes. De Klerk got it at the back. Sets it up. Goes high. Contestable again. Perfectly placed box kick. And Geordie Barrett does well to come down with that in high traffic. All Blacks ball. Out the back it goes to Beauden. Mo'unga to Will Jordan. Will Jordan steps through one. Up towards halfway. Plants it back. Mo'unga puts the kick in over the top. Looking for space. And it's dropped at the back by Willemse. Willemse recovers and clears. Up to halfway. Great clearance from Willemse. All Blacks will have the throw into the lineup, but once again, South Africa are just saying, run it back at us. Run it back at us from distance. We'll be all right. Backing their defense. All Blacks throw into the line out on halfway to the middle. Brodie Retallick comes down with it. Release now to Savia in midfield. Ruck is formed. Smith with the box kick. It's a little bit too deep. Again, the difference between the two teams. And the mark is claimed at the back. No, they don't claim the mark. South Africa scramble away. And that, I've said it a few times tonight, the difference between the two teams so far. Those kicks from the All Blacks just a little bit too long. Not contestable. Whereas here, Faf de Klerk, well, he's purposely looked for distance on that one. Turning the All Blacks around again. Beauden Barrett looking for options. His eyes light up as it opens up in midfield. South Africa over the top of this ball. Told to release. Lucky to hold on there, the All Blacks. Down the blind side they go. And Cody Taylor's out on the wing. Stepping away from one. Still going the hooker. All Blacks with front foot ball now. Geordie Barrett into contact. Penalty advantage incoming here. And it's a gift, 3 points. Take the 3. It's about to be 12 points to 9. This Rugby World Cup final has got some twists and turns left in it. Don't you worry. Gift 3 points. Oh, they're putting it into touch. They've turned down the 3. Geordie Barrett will put this into the corner. This now becomes a huge line-out throw for Cody Taylor. South Africa roll on the substitutions. Khaleesi's yellow card remains a yellow. And this now becomes a crucial part of the game. The All Blacks, 14 on 14. But it's about to go back to 14 on 15. Khaleesi remains a yellow card. He will be back. So it is critical that the All Blacks score a try here and take the lead. To the front they go, uncontested. Breaking away, Azadi Savia. 5 out from the line. De Klerk's got him held up. To ground they go, the All Blacks. Keeping it in tight. Trying to earn a penalty advantage before they try anything too fancy. Mo'unga, it's tapped on and lost forward by Will Jordan. South Africa hold on, and now Estebeth loses it. A double knock on will be called. It'll be a scrum down to South Africa, and that could very well be the World Cup right there. That was such a monumental moment in the game. South Africa's defense cannot be penetrated. I thought they went wide a little bit too early there, the All Blacks. They needed to keep it in tight, try and earn that penalty advantage. It wasn't incoming. $12 points to 6, no change to the halftime score. 30 minutes left in this game. 30 minutes left in the Rugby World Cup final. The All Blacks turning down 3 points. Going for the corner, and South Africa have held on in a huge statement. Roger Federer in the house. South Africa will have the scrum here. 10 out from their own line. 5 in from touch. They set. It's a big shunt here from the All Blacks. The All Blacks go straight over the top of it, but South Africa, it spills out the side. Very lucky to not give away a penalty there, the Springboks. De Klerk has it at the back, controlling the ball. Fires it back to Pollard. Pollard clears up towards halfway. Great clearing kick. 3 minutes left in the sin bin for Khaleesi as Sam Whitelock gets ready to come on. Some valuable experience about to enter the fray here for the All Blacks. Sammy Whitelock. All Blacks line out throw. Retallick takes it at the front, uncontested, and they spill it forward. It's knocked on. It's called backwards by referee Wayne Barnes. Wow. All Blacks have it in midfield. Savia sets up another ruck. Schneemann tries to get in and steal that ball away. He's got a release now. All Blacks still have it, but they're a lot further out from the line than they were. Mo'unga to Geordie Barrett. Change of direction. Back in field. Du Toit reaching over the top of that ruck. Beauden Barrett out the back now. Mo'unga beats one. Tries to get on the outside now. Richie Mo'unga. Talea calling for the kick through. Mo'unga dummies. Goes on his own. Aaron Smith will score. Aaron Smith scores. I called that at the start of the game too. Aaron Smith, anytime try scorer. New Zealand score the first try of the match. It's 12 points to 11. Kick to come. Richie Mo'unga does it in style. And Aaron Smith finishes it off. The All Blacks absolutely had to strike in this passage of play when it was 14 on 14. Richie Mo'unga beats Arendse. Gets on the outside of Delende. Dummies, Willemse fires it back to Aaron Smith on the inside. And I called it. Aaron Smith dead set certainty. I said in the pregame, dead set certainty that Aaron Smith would be any-time try scorer. Oh, this one's going to get scrubbed out. Victor, ahoy, mate. This try is going to be disallowed. We're coming all the way back to that line out. We're going all the way back to that line out where I said referee Wayne Barnes has missed a blatant knock on. And this try is getting scrubbed out. How far do we come back, though? Seriously, play had gone through so many phases. How far back do we come? Honestly, play had gone through so many phases. The try is scrubbed out. How many phases of play had that gone through before this decision was looked at? Incredible. It comes back for a penalty. That is huge. That will just be so deflating. That is just so deflating for the All Blacks. You can't believe it. They've knocked back the three again. I think this is a mistake, turning down these points, especially in the circumstances. A try has just been rubbed out. Take the three, come away with something. There's plenty of time left in this game. Line out throw, though, to the All Blacks. 15 out. Excuse me. They go to the middle. Scott Barrett comes down with it. The rolling maul is set. The Springboks collapse it. Savea breaks away. He's got no support, though, Artie. Artie's got no support. Now they arrive in numbers, and the ball somehow spills over onto the Springbok side. How have they come away with that? Well, that's how. A knock on by the All Blacks. They're getting no love at all from Wayne Barnes as Khaleesi comes back on. Khaleesi is back, and South Africa are back to 15. The All Blacks have ruined their chance. TMO review. Penalty here to the All Blacks. Another decision overturned. They've set the precedent here, the All Blacks. They've got to go for points. It was a long way out. It was close to the sideline. It was going to be a difficult kick. It was not a gift three-pointer. But I'm with you, Dan Jam. Plenty of time left in the match. Still over a quarter of the game remaining. Take the points. 12 points to 9. Scoreboard pressure is the best kind of pressure. Big throw, though. 5 out. The All Blacks go to the front. Retallick comes down with it. The rolling maul is set. The maul is set. They've got it at the back here. Cody Taylor. They're going backwards now. South Africa defend. They still maintain the ball here, the All Blacks. Going sideways. Penalty advantage. Penalty advantage to the All Blacks. Now they can release and launch an attack. Geordie Barrett. Short pass. Nearly goes through. Smith has got it at the back of the ruck. Thank you very much, Josiah Samula, for subscribing. Smith to Lomax. Lomax into contact. The All Blacks, penalty advantage. Mo'unga to Geordie Barrett. Throws a speculator out to Talea. Talea beats 2, 3. Still going. Pops it out the back to Beauden Barrett. Was it forward? It's a try for Beauden Barrett, but I dare say this will be looked at. This will go under the microscope. Beauden Barrett scores in the corner. I dare say this one's going to get scrubbed out as well, though. Beauden Barrett's got to go back and... Or Richie Mo'unga has got to take this kick as quickly as possible. Richie Mo'unga has just got to... Even if they miss, just go back and drop kick the ball. Drop goal this ball. Do not let this get looked at by the TMO. Great pass by Geordie Barrett, a speculator. But Talea, oh, that's gone forward. Oh, that's gone forward. Backwards out of the hands, though, perhaps. Back out of the hands, perhaps. Richie, just put this over, mate. Don't fluff about. It looks like the try stands, though. 12 points to 11. The All Blacks score the first try. Beauden Barrett. Richie Mo'unga now from the sideline. Moves in, strikes it, and it's way off target. Way off target. But it is 1 point the difference. 12 points to 11. The All Blacks with the first and only try of the match so far. South Africa get us back underway. This game is going right down to the wire. Oh, God, this is intense. You love it. This is fantastic. It really is. The All Blacks clear from the kickoff. Up over halfway. South Africa threaten to go quickly, but common sense prevails. They will have the line-out throw on halfway. 1 point the difference. 20 minutes to go. Victor says, try to win the World Cup, please. Not a bloody penalty. I'll take the penalty at this point. South Africa go to the middle, and it's stolen. Smith down the blind side puts the kick out on the full. He would love his time over again there, Aaron Smith. Stolen by big, bad Brodie Retallick. And Smith knows what a crucial error that was. South Africa, Bork, stolen again. They're all over the Springboks line-out. Geordie Barrett in midfield, releases and Ioane spills it. Rico Ioane drops it. It'll be a scrum down, and they let the Springboks off the hook again. A man down. They can't afford these simple little errors, the All Blacks. They are all over South Africa's line-out. Cactus Cat Kyle says, I hope South Africa wins. It is still, I think they're still favourites, South Africa. New Zealand have created a whole heap of momentum these past 10 or so minutes. But I think this is still South Africa's game. 1 point in the lead. An extra man advantage for the rest of the match, assuming they don't do anything completely stupid. This, I believe, is still there for the taking for the Springboks. Scrum down. Big drive here from the Springboks. Ball spills out on the All Blacks side, though. Ioane into contact. The All Blacks have it. They win that scrum against the feed. Savia looking for runners. Brodie Retallick feeds it on to De Groot. New Zealand stack the blind side. Savia plants it back. They've got the ball here, New Zealand. This is pressure. Pressure situation. South Africa, they'll be feeling it. Don't you worry. They'll be feeling it. They know with an extra man advantage, they should be winning this game. Talea has looked threatening every time he gets the ball. Scott Barrett charges into contact. No room to go, though. Smith calling the troops in. He needs support there, Smith. Brodie Retallick on the short side. All Blacks retain possession. Artie Savea. 8 phases they've gone now. Smith to Scott Barrett in midfield. Plants it back. They maintain the ball again. He wants runners on the ball. Oh, don't tell me they're setting up a drop goal here. De Groot. 10 phases now. All Blacks just they're trying to win some sort of penalty advantage here. Smith, change of direction for Mo'unga, fires it out to Will Jordan. Jordan takes on Colby, and it's stolen away from him. Will Jordan's had a nightmare of a game. The knee crumbler, ahoy mate. Will Jordan really hasn't had one of his better games. South Africa just hold on to the ball here. Look for the box kick. Faf's got it at the back of the ruck. Told to use it now. De Klerk with the box kick goes straight up in the air. Geordie Barrett wins the high ball. No distance made whatsoever. The ball comes out on South Africa's side. A stray boot tips it forward. Willemse runs it, finds some space, finds some meters in behind the retreating All Blacks defence. Talea basketballs it across to Beauden Barrett. From inside the 22, Beauden Barrett clears way upfield. Colby comes away with it and runs it back towards halfway. Goose step, and that spots half a gap. Colby goes straight through. Cheslin Colby up over halfway. Springboks now. Turn this around. Get front foot ball down in All Black territory. Faree crawling through on his knees. Willemse puts the kick in. Finding touch. Smart play. Very smart play there from Damian Willemse. Advantage South Africa. Turning the All Blacks around. Pinning them down in their own territory. 15 minutes to go. And the All Blacks, obviously the red card was a huge moment in the game, but they will look back on this game, regardless of the result. They will look back on this game and look at some of those simple mistakes that were made. Simple errors, turning the ball straight back over to the Springboks. One point the difference, though. This one is going to go right down to the wire. I said before the, well, not before the stream, before the game. I said in the pre-game when the stream just started, South Africa 18 points to 13. I'm not going to be very far off here. By the looks of it, I am going to be very, very close with that call. $15 minutes left in this Rugby World Cup. It is sad to see it coming to an end. It really is. I've had such an enjoyable tournament. Some disappointing performances from the All Blacks tonight. Will Jordan has been very well contained and been put completely off his game. Beauden Barrett and Richie Mo'unga have both had large periods of play where they've been far from their usual high standards. For the Springboks, they've just done what they've needed to do. just controlling a field position. 15 minutes to go. Time is back on. Takiaho is on, fires it to the front, uncontested. South Africa more than happy to allow the All Blacks to kick. Colby takes it, fires it back into Willemse. Willemse puts it high, gets the chase on. Geordie Barrett retreating backwards, passes back to Bowden. Bowden finds space in behind the line, puts the kick in. Rico Ioane chasing, it's going to fall over the sideline. And it'll be a South African throw into the line out. It's all about field position now. Finlay Christie comes on for Ron Smith. Let's take a moment to appreciate that Finlay Christie is getting a World Cup final cap. Unbelievable. South Africa, 22 out from their own line with the line-out throw. In it goes. Fourie hits his target in the middle of the line-out. Now released back to Fourie. And Dale Ende in midfield. De Klerk's got it at the back of the ruck. Finds the Ox. Ox, head down, bum up, charges forward. Front football here, South Africa. Look for De Klerk to clear. The box kick will be coming shortly. Told to use it. De Klerk, box kick. Fires it up. Over halfway, contestable again. Perfectly placed. And Mo'unga spills it forward. Play on here. The referee calls it up. Oh, it's on. It was on out there. The Springboks were away. The Boks were away. But the referee had blown his whistle long ago. They're still playing on. South Africa have scored the try. But referee Wayne Barnes had called it up long ago. "13 minutes to go. 1 point the difference. It's going to be a scrum on halfway to the Springboks. They have just kicked the All Blacks to death. And Bowden Barrett and Richie Mo'unga have made enough mistakes tonight under the high ball to make it very worth their while. Kanye Ketchup is calling for D-Mac. Is it time for Damian McKenzie? Fresh legs for the last 10 minutes of the game. Some tiring Springbok defenders, perhaps. And the pace of Damian McKenzie maybe just opens this game up in the last 10. "14 minutes stands between glory for one of these teams. 1 point between them. Scrum down on halfway. South Africa feed. Big drive again from the All Blacks. It's gone down on the far side. Wayne Barnes doesn't want a bar of it. He doesn't care. He says play on. And now Willie LaRue, just smart tactical play, puts the kick in over the top and into touch. Turning the All Blacks around again. Keeping them down their own end of the field. Nichols, ahoy mate. Twelve and a half minutes left. Takiaho with the line-out throw. Short line-out here from the All Blacks. Come down, Bowden. Big bad Brodie Retallick comes down with it. They release into midfield. Savea. The ball spills out the back and South Africa dive on it, but it's a penalty for not releasing. All Blacks penalty. The South African defenders not releasing. Oh, very lucky there. Finlay Christie was more interested in arguing with the referee than he was watching the ball, watching the play. Penalty to New Zealand. They've put it into touch. Geordie Barrett with the touch finder. Up towards halfway. Right on halfway, actually. Takiaho has been spot on with the lineouts so far, and I've probably just put the mocker on him now. To the front they go. Whitelock comes down with it. Savia releases midfield. Geordie Barrett looking for space. They close in on him. The All Blacks still have it on halfway. Takiaho, pick and go. All Blacks still have the ball. Christie setting up a clearing kick here. On halfway, Finlay Christie puts the box kick up. Again, just a little bit too deep. And Cheslin Colby comes down with it. And once again, just a little bit too much distance on these kicks. They're not contestable. The Springboks are making them contestable. When they kick, it's a challenge in the air. 69.5 minutes gone in this Rugby World Cup final. 1 point, it remains the difference. South Africa have it at the back of the ruck here. De Klerk, 22 out. Puts the box kick up. High, contestable ball. It's coming down. It's knocked on by the All Blacks again. It's knocked on by the All Blacks again. And it's another South African scrum. The high ball, contestable. That is the difference. I've said it so many times tonight. And I will continue to say it. The difference between the two teams tonight. South Africa have made a contest out of every single high ball. And they have netted results from it. The All Blacks, their kicks are going too deep. No pressure on the Springbok receivers. "10 minutes to go. This Rugby World Cup. Hey, remember what I said in the pregame? For anyone who was here in the pregame, I said South Africa to win by 5. They'll be leading by 2 points going into the last 10 minutes. And they will secure a penalty goal to make the margin 5, and it will remain that for the rest of the game. God damn it, I'm close. Let's be honest, that prediction is so bloody close right now. Big scrum from the All Blacks. Springboks release it. Delende to Pollard. Willie LaRue out to Arensay. They're into All Blacks territory. They're in penalty goal range. De Klerk down the blind side. Kicks it straight into the waiting arms of Richie Mo'unga. And now Beauden Barrett takes an eternity to get this kick away. Setting up a drop goal on halfway. Cheslin Colby. It's a dead set shocker. Oh, but the All Blacks have made a mess of it. Talea comes away with it. Saves the day. Clearing into touch. 9 minutes to go. Oh, so lucky. Richie Mo'unga nearly made a complete cack of things there. South Africa line out throw on halfway. This very worthy of a Rugby World Cup final. It is going down to the wire. To the middle they go to Steph Dutoy, uncontested. Springboks come down with it. Look to set up the rolling maul. All Blacks defend. Great shape though from the Springboks, and now they drive forward. 10 meters upfield here. South Africa. They've got great shape on this rolling maul. And now Faf de Klerk breaks away. They need numbers into the ruck. It spills out on the All Black side. Now they can counter-attack. Space here. Anton Leonard-Brown. One to beat. It's touched. It's knocked on. Knock-on advantage. Geordie Barrett now runs upfield. The All Blacks are back in range. Mo'unga to Whitelock in midfield. Pops it back to Talea. Talea beats one. Change of direction. Talea still going. 22 out now for the All Blacks. Quick ruck ball. Christie out to Ioane. Beauden Barrett is swamped. The defence is good out wide from the Springboks. The inroads for the All Blacks are in midfield. The wide defence of the Springboks is held firm. 22 metres out. Back for a penalty, or back for a knock-on. Back for a penalty. And here is an opportunity. How far out is it? How far out is this? We've come back for a penalty to the All Blacks. Will it be close enough for a shot at penalty goal? TMO review. Cheslin Colby. Cheslin Colby is going to get done here for a deliberate knockdown. Cheslin Colby is going to the bin. This is huge. We are going to be 14 on 14 for the rest of this match. Cheslin Colby, a yellow card for a deliberate knockdown. This game is back in the balance. The All Blacks red card is nullified. Cheslin Colby is off for the rest of this match. Deliberate knockdown. He only ever had eyes for the ball. To be fair, it might be a stupid rule, but a rule it is. And to the letter of the law, that was fairly blatant. Had to be called. Seven minutes to go in this Rugby World Cup final. 1 point the difference. It's going to be 14 on 14. And having a shot here, Geordie Barrett. Geordie Barrett from halfway. It's probably about 60 metres on the angle, 55 metres. On the angle, Geordie Barrett is going to have an attempt. Nino, thank you very much for the sub. Appreciate it. This is a massive, massive kick. 14 on 14 for the rest of the match. May as well have a crack at it. Geordie Barrett moves in, strikes it. It's off target to the left. And it's over the dead ball line. It will be a dropout for South Africa. It was worth a shot, though. It really was. It was very much worth it to have a go. Oh, you've got to feel so sorry for Cheslin Colby there. He is in tears. He is absolutely heartbroken there on the sideline. South Africa drop out down to Mo'unga. To Talea. Talea bumps off the first tackle as he always does. New Zealand have the ball on halfway. 6 minutes to go in this Rugby World Cup final. 1 point the difference. 14 on 14. Mo'unga to Geordie Barrett. That's forward. A forward pass to Leonard Brown. Has Geordie Barrett just thrown away the World Cup? South Africa scrum down. 5 minutes to go. South Africa scrum midfield. 40 metres out. This is tense. D-Max on. Kanye Ketchup. D-Max on. Richie Mo'unga's off. Beauden Barrett will slot into fly half. Damian McKenzie will be on at fullback. Well, you would think anyway. Surely McKenzie is not on at fly half. Although it looks like he might be. Damian McKenzie is defending at fly half anyway. Whether or not he'll attack from fly half remains to be seen. Huge scrum down here. 5 minutes left in this Rugby World Cup final. Springbok feed. Solid scrum from both teams. De Klerk's got it at the back. They're told to use it here. They've been told to use it 3 times. De Klerk releases. Pollard. Jesse Creel, been very quiet tonight. South Africa ball. Pressure here in midfield. De Klerk. To the Ox. Counter ruck here from the All Blacks. Putting pressure on. Got to be careful not to give away any penalty. Back to Pollard for a drop goal. It's touched. Touched in flight. And now the counter attack is on. Geordie Barrett. Oh, Peter Steph Toy all over Geordie Barrett again. Peter Steph Toy will be giving Geordie Barrett nightmares for the rest of his life after this game. McKenzie. Running across field here, the All Blacks. They have got to clear this ball. Barrett, they're running it. Geordie Barrett from inside the 22. This is risky play. They need to thump this one upfield. Christie back to Bowden, and Bowden. Barrett does just that. Pumping it upfield, but straight down the throat of Pollard. Pollard now returns it. Pops the pass up to Peter Steph Toy down the short side. Needs support. De Klerk and losing it forward, the Springboks. Scrum down, 3.5 minutes to go, but the All Blacks have got to go all the way upfield. They've got to go the length of the field. Cheslin Colby can't watch. Three and a half minutes to go. Kicking is out the window now, I dare say. The All Blacks have to go the length of the field. Three minutes left. 1 point the difference. All Blacks with the scrum. Inside their own 22. Springboks look to get the shove on. All Blacks hold firm, releasing it. Rico Ioane beats the first defender. The All Blacks clear. Christie with the box kick, charged down by Faf de Klerk and into touch. No, the time for box kicks is done and dusted. Finlay Christie. Finlay Christie. It is not the time for box kicks, my friend. Line out throw to the All Blacks. Inside their own 22, they are still firmly planted. Tapped down from the front. Savea to McKenzie. Space out wide here. Ioane is just wrangled in. They stay on the short side. Damian McKenzie beats one. Gets through. Gets the pass away to Takiaho. Stolen by the Springboks. No. Planted back by the All Blacks. They hold on to the ball. Takiaho just doing enough there. Savea in midfield. 2 minutes left. Bowden Barrett to McKenzie. Cut out pass. Puts the man into space. And an ankle tap puts Papali'i down. But the All Blacks are going forward. They've got front football. Scott Barrett out wide. The counter ruck is good from the Springboks. Loose ball at the back. Talea is wrapped up. They're all over this, the Springboks. It comes back for the All Blacks, though. Short side goes Bowden Barrett. Support from Leonard Brown. Leonard Brown cuts back in field. Just over a minute to go. McKenzie on halfway. They're on halfway here, the All Blacks. Tackle ball. Finlay Christie gets in, releases it now. Bowden Barrett to Rico Ioane, beats the first defender. They're over at the Springboks, steal it. Springboks steal it. 1 minute left in this game. It's a terrible pass over the back. It is a shocker of a pass. And running backwards is Jesse Creel. Forced to kick. Damian McKenzie now has it. Can return it up to halfway. 1 minute to go. McKenzie gets on the outside. Space now down the left. Savea beats one. Savea looks to pass it. It's loose. It's spilt forward by the All Blacks. 30 seconds left and the Springboks hold on, but this is a massive scrum. This is a huge scrum down now. One point the difference. It was on here. Savea needed to go into contact. He popped that ball backwards, but Leonard Brown, Dalton Papali, Faf de Klerk with the ankle tap, saving the day. This is a huge scrum now because a penalty at scrum time. This is kickable for the All Blacks. They will be putting a big shove on here. 30 seconds left in the Rugby World Cup final. 1 point the difference. This scrum is the defining moment. The Springboks, they just have to feed this and get it out. "30 seconds to go. This is just unreal. This is a World Cup final, very fitting of the tournament as a whole so far. Big scrum. No penalties. It is still a tough kick. Geordie Barrett will have a very difficult kick if the All Blacks do somehow get a penalty at scrum time. It all comes down to this. The Rugby World Cup hinges on this final play of the match. Scrum feed for the Springboks. They set. Look for the All Blacks to shove. Oh, the referee calls it up. It's going to be a reset. It's going to be a scrum reset. Seven seconds left. This will definitely be the last play of the game. Time will be up. South Africa lead by one single solitary point. They crouch. This is it. The last play of the Rugby World Cup final. They bind. They set. The All Blacks look to get a big shove on the All Blacks. They do. It's sloppy out the back. South Africa goes straight for the sideline. The All Blacks have held them up, but that's not going to be enough for the All Blacks. They need this ball to go to ground. That's the World Cup final. South Africa win. South Africa win the Rugby World Cup final by 1 point. They have held on somehow. The Springboks, the first team to win 4 Rugby World Cups. Boy, did they have to fight for it, though. 15-14 for a large portion of the match. No change to their halftime scoreline. And they have held on. A missed conversion is all that stands between the two teams. A missed conversion from an All Blacks try. The difference at the end. South Africa win by 1 point. Roger Federer is standing and applauding. That was one of the most tense games of rugby I have ever witnessed. This has been one of the closest Rugby World Cups in history. From start to finish, so many close games. And the final goes right down to the wire. 1 point the difference. South Africa victorious. South Africa have gone back to back. They have now matched the All Blacks in going back to back. And they are the first nation to win 4 Rugby World Cups. I mean, let's appreciate the effort that the Springboks have put in here in this tournament. With 10 minutes to go in the semi-final, and I'm sorry to bring this up again, Dan Jam, but I kind of have to make this point. With 10 minutes left in the semi-final, the Springboks were dead and buried. They were done. They've gone from that last 10 minutes of the semi-final all the way through the final, near perfect. They have played 90 minutes of near perfect rugby to come back from the dead. And they are Rugby World Cup champions. The Springboks, congratulations. What an absolutely immense game. Absolutely incredible. Wow. Okay, let's just wind down and dissect things a little bit. I'm going to have a quick break, and I'll be back right after this for the post-game here on the Wasted World of Sports. All right. Wow. I really needed to go to the toilet, but I was not leaving during that last 10 minutes. That was some of the most intense rugby I've ever witnessed. Wow. Okay, let's talk about what we need to talk about in the post-game. It always comes back to it. Refereeing. I think Wayne Barnes, overall, did a fabulous job. If you can complain about anything, I would complain about there really needs to be, in my opinion, there really needs to be a decision made about TMO interjections into the game. That All Blacks try that was rubbed out, the All Blacks try that was scrubbed out was such a deflating, like it had to be a hugely deflating moment. The All Blacks did eventually go on to score a try, but think about how many passages of play went on since that knock-on happened, and we came all the way back and scrubbed that try out. I think there's a couple of trains of thought here. Obviously, you want the right decision to be made, but do we come back that far? Like, that was just hugely morale sapping. On one hand, you go, yes, it was the correct decision. I said it at the time. When it happened, I called it live. I said Wayne Barnes has missed a blatant knock-on from the All Blacks there. So it was the correct decision. But so many phases had gone before we come all the way back. So there's a couple of ways of looking at that. So I think a decision needs to be made by World Rugby as to how far back we can go. But I don't want that to take away. That should not take away. I'm nitpicking now, basically, because we have to have these conversations. That's what we do in the post-game. In the post-game, we dissect every little moment that we didn't necessarily have a chance to talk about during the game proper. So I have to bring it up. But overall, I thought Wayne Barnes was fantastic. The celebration here in South Africa is lit. I can imagine the Springboks back-to-back 4-time Rugby World Cup winners. If rugby union is not already the national sport in South Africa, please tell me that it is now. And it's not out of the question. It is not completely out of the question that South Africa win the Cricket World Cup as well. Let's not forget that. Apart from that little hiccup against the Netherlands, they're doing all right in the Cricket World Cup too. The South Africans, the Proteas. Such a quality sporting nation, huh? South Africa. But yes, look, if you can nitpick moments in a game, that was it. I did say at halftime, if anyone was on the stream at halftime, I did say, look for a square up on the cards, and it happened. Khaleesi not upgraded. I thought he would have been upgraded to a red just to even it out. I really did. But I think common sense prevailed in that situation, and it stayed a yellow. There was not a lot of love from Wayne Barnes at ruck time for the All Blacks, I felt. But anyway, I don't want to say too much more, because I really, really don't want this to sound even remotely like I'm having to go at the officials. I'm really not. I am legitimately not. South Africa came out with an absolute perfect game plan for the occasion and for the conditions, and they executed it so much better. Let's talk about the positives. Let's get off the referee for a bit. Focus on the overall positives, South Africa's game plan. I called it quite a few times during the match. The difference between the two teams. South Africa, whenever they put box kicks up, high, contestable balls. All Blacks made errors at the back. Richie Mo'unga and Beauden Barrett were two very uncharacteristic culprits at the back for spilling the ball. South Africa, though, forced them into it. They made every box kick, every single box kick was contestable. The All Blacks, on the other hand, their kicks were just a little bit too much distance. They weren't contestable. They were pressuring the Springbok receivers the moment they came down with the ball. But what you want from a quality box kick is for your chasers to be able to compete in the air and force a mistake. Exactly what South Africa did. Such a quality game of rugby, such a quality performance, such a quality World Cup in general. Let's just take a moment, shall we? Let's just take a moment and reflect on this Rugby World Cup as a whole. And it was so fitting that the final went down to the wire. 1 point the difference. It's a little bit unfortunate that the Springboks didn't score any tries. It's always a little bit unfortunate when the team that scores the try doesn't win. But if you give away the penalties in kickable range, then more fool you. All right, so let's just appreciate this Rugby World Cup overall, which kick-started with France defeating the All Blacks in the opening game, 27 points to 14. We also saw, as I scroll through here, Fiji. Let's take a moment and applaud the Flying Fijians. What a tournament they had. They can hold their heads very high. The nation should be extremely proud of the efforts that Fiji put on during this tournament. They ran Wales desperately close in their opening match. 32 points to 26. Wales escaped with the victory there. We also, as I move forward, we then saw, staying on Fiji, Fiji finally got the victory over the Wallabies. They've been threatening for quite a few World Cups now to get that win over the Wallabies in the pool stages. They finally did it. 22 points to 15. Fiji, their fantastic tournament continued. They had a little bit of a stumble at the end, though, didn't they? Going through South Africa and Ireland. South Africa, Ireland, one of the greatest games of rugby I had ever seen up until that point. I feel like it might just be the occasion of a World Cup final. I feel like this game probably overshadows that, but that pool game between South Africa and Ireland, that was, at the time, hands down the greatest game of rugby I had ever seen at that point. 13 points to 8. Ireland got the victory over South Africa. And that comes back to my point that I was talking about in the pregame. Is this the first time in Rugby World Cup history where both teams contesting the final have lost matches in general pool play? I think it might be. Wales completely dominated Australia. The Wallabies, their horror of a Rugby World Cup continued. Losing big time, 40 points to 6. It was domination from Wales. Fiji, the fairy tale story of the tournament. They just held on to defeat Georgia, 17 points to 12. Moving forward, just scrolling through. At the moment, I'm just looking for the games that we covered that were fantastic. We move on to the quarterfinals, Wales and Argentina. What a game that was. Sanchez, Nicolas Sanchez, the masterstroke from Michael Cheika, throwing Sanchez out there. And Argentina won the first quarterfinal. The absolute epic between Ireland and New Zealand. New Zealand stepping up a notch and defeating Ireland in the quarterfinal. Fiji, their fairy tale almost continued, just going down in quarterfinal number 3 to England. And of course, quarterfinal number 4, another epic encounter. South Africa, 29-28, defeating France. And then backing it up, South Africa came back from the dead to defeat England in the semi-final. And we had another blockbuster here tonight, 12 points to 11. South Africa have played 90 minutes of near-perfect, sublime rugby, suited to the occasion, suited to the conditions. The first team to win 4 Rugby World Cups, and they have gone back-to-back. They are a tournament team. I said it quite a few times throughout the course of the tournament. When South Africa had lost to Ireland, there were quite a few Springboks supporters in the chat that were writing their team off. And I said, don't worry, the Springboks are a tournament team. They will be there at the end. Don't you worry about that. Their style of play just suits tournament play, tournament rugby. And here they are again, victorious. Eugene Clark says defense wins games. And point is, with the expats, Europe, it was like a home game. That's actually a very fair point, Eugene, and something that I didn't even think about. With the South African teams playing in the European competitions now, much better suited to the conditions. That is a very good point, Eugene. I'll drink to that. Hadn't even given that a single thought. But that is a very valid point. They have played to the occasion and to the conditions near perfectly. 12 points to 11 victors. I think I just got an Apple News alert about this very match. Yes, I have. South Africa have beaten New Zealand to claim a record 4th Rugby World Cup crown after a dramatic final that featured 4 cards. It was crazy. The game, though, the All Blacks definitely made a fight. They definitely made a contest out of it, but I feel like the game was done and dusted with that Sam Cane red card. Ultimately. But anyways, what a great tournament we have witnessed. The Rugby World Cup 2023 has thrown up some of the most sublime rugby that I've seen in a very long time. This has been the most closely contested tournament for sure, hands down. And congratulations to the Springboks. 12 points to 11, victorious. Smiles all around for the Boks. It was tense at the end there. The All Blacks, though, worth noting, the only try in the game. That'd be an interesting statistic as well. Have the Rugby World Cup winners ever won without scoring a try before? That'd be another interesting stat to look up. I get the feeling that probably has happened before. The Lumi on Twitch says, as an All Black, it's heartbreaking to see, but we made so many mistakes. There were some very crucial errors from the All Blacks. I remember calling it at the time when they were down 14 on 15, and especially during Khaleesi's yellow card period. Khaleesi's yellow card period, so many times there, the All Blacks just spilling the ball. They would steal a South African line out and they would drop the ball 2 out from the ruck. Too many very, very simple mistakes, ultimately. And some of the All Blacks players that were guilty of those mistakes, very unusual to see. I'm talking Richie Mo'unga, Beauden Barrett. Guys you don't expect to see drop the ball. Boos, there was serious boos raining out across the stadium there as the match officials went up to receive their medals. I think that's a little bit harsh. Overall, I thought Wayne Barnes did a fantastic job officiating tonight. As the All Blacks come up to receive their medals. Finley Christie. Eugene Clark says, we won our third final in that way. No tries scored. For me, Mackenzie had to start for the All Blacks. Mo'unga doesn't get the All Blacks really forward like D-Mac would. Geez, I don't know if Damian Mackenzie's the answer either, though. CH1301 says, honestly, mate, it was a terrible game for the All Blacks. We missed a kick to win the World Cup and missed opportunities for points. But in the end, man of the match is Wayne Barnes for the Boks. Yeah, I don't know. I stand by my statement that overall Wayne Barnes had a pretty good match. Let's see if I pronounce this name correctly. Ayabulela Sontangi. Yes, four-time. Hey, that's got a little bit of Booker T vibe about it. Booker T was five-time, though. Five-time. But for the Springboks, four-time Rugby World Cup champions. Six marky 9, South Africa World Cup. Dan Jam says, is it now a law in South Africa for their president to get a jersey on for the podium? Probably. It should be a law for all presidents to get the jersey on if they're at the game. Oh my God, CH1301. With 3 minutes to go, Finley Christie setting up a box kick that was charged down by Faf de Klerk. I couldn't believe it. I remember calling it at the time. I'm like, Christie, the time for box kicks are over, mate. You've got 3 minutes to go the length of the field. A box kick is not going to win the game. Dante says, honestly, the amount of penalties South Africa was giving to New Zealand in the second half, I'm surprised New Zealand didn't win. They certainly did their best to throw away an unlosable game, didn't they? Juju Grimm says, that's why we always win. Why is that? Because the president wears the jersey. It speaks. I mean, it does say a lot. It speaks a lot of the passion, doesn't it? CH1301 says, this All Black team reminds me of my ex-girlfriend. Extremely good looking, but a disaster to manage. I don't think they're all that good looking either. Actually, pre-tournament, I had the All Blacks bowing out in the quarterfinals. I don't think they were looking that good at all, to be honest. I do feel like the All Blacks have overproduced in this tournament. I really legitimately thought Ireland were the team to beat. I honestly thought it was going to be an Ireland-France Rugby World Cup final. And I'm sure that I'm not alone in that. There we go. Dante has just said, I'm going to be real. I thought it would be Ireland-France in the final. Legitimately, going into the tournament, hands down, that was the obvious choice. Eugene Clark says, the All Blacks will always be the Boks' biggest game. And I will really just say the game of rugby was the winner, as the two best teams in world rugby put on a real treat. Dan Jam says, no, I had that down for months as well. Talking about Ireland versus France, I believe. The kicking game was off, indeed, CH1301. The kicking game was atrocious. I called it quite a few times during the stream. The kicks were just too deep. The Springboks, on the other hand, perfectly placed box kicks, contestable. Every kick was a contest. Here come the South Africans. The Springboks are up to collect their winners' medals. Hugs all around. Laughs all around. A joyous occasion. Oi. What have we got there? Hello. How you doing? All right. Dante says, like Ireland beat South Africa and France beat New Zealand in the pools, it is a fair assumption to make. Exactly. The thing that I don't want this result, like the fact, and I'm talking about the fact that the All Blacks even made it to the final and came within a point of winning it. I've got to be brutally honest here. Brutally honest. It would have been, honestly, brutal honesty, it would have been an absolute travesty to World Rugby if Ian Foster went down as a Rugby World Cup winning coach. I mean, that might seem incredibly harsh, but what a travesty to World Rugby it would be if we look back on Ian Foster's reign as a Rugby World Cup winner. Wisdom Marupini says this is going to affect the All Blacks mentality by 1 point. I mean, yeah, obviously they had the game. They had a chance to win the game. So, yes, they will clearly be affected. But there are now a lot of these All Blacks moving on. There'll be a lot of fresh blood into the team when Scott Robertson takes over immediately following the World Cup. So, defense. Moolah says defense. Defense wins Rugby World Cups. Dante says, sad fact about New Zealand, the domestic abuse rate increases when the All Blacks lose. You know what? That is actually sadly a fact. Dante is not taking the piss right now. That is actually sadly a well-known statistic. Eugene Clark says teams built their game plan on the way teams approach the Rugby Championship, but look at Argentina and how strong they were all tournament. Just shows the Southern Hemisphere is strong. Absolutely. I mean, it was so close. I mean, if we count, do we still count South Africa as a true Southern Hemisphere team, considering they play most of their rugby north? I think we do. We still count them. It was almost. Fiji came this close to beating England in the quarterfinals. Let's not forget that. We can't forget that. It was almost a Southern Hemisphere lockout in the semi-finals. CH1301 says we have to rebuild and get the old wood out. Ian Foster was one of the worst coaches in history. It would have been, I'm not even joking. It is brutally honest. I know it's a horrible thing to say about another person, but it would have been such a detriment to the Rugby World Cup if Fozzie went down as a World Cup winning coach. Definitely one of the worst All Black coaches in history. He's got to be up there with, let's see, who else was terrible? John Mitchell. John Mitchell was pretty awful. John Mitchell's concept of Harlem Globetrotter style rugby was not made for Rugby World Cups. You can't play Harlem Globetrotter style rugby and win a World Cup. John Mitchell was completely off kilter with that. Moolah says 3 games against the best, all won by 1 point, had the toughest run. And it shows discipline, dedication, guts, and fortitude. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's appreciate that fact that that South Africa had a much tougher run. I mean, no offense to Argentina, but the All Blacks were just on a completely different level in that semi-final. Off topic, Eddie Jones has done the Wallabies dirty. Honestly, who cares? The Wallabies, it's their own fault, basically. They have got to stop. I'm talking about the Wallabies now. We are off topic because we've just witnessed one of the all-time great Rugby World Cup finals. So we are getting a little bit off kilter. But I live in Australia, so it's only fair that we do discuss the Wallabies and the atrocious tournament that they had. Knocked out for the first time ever in the pool stages. But the Wallabies, Australian rugby, they've only got themselves to blame. What a sight that is as the fireworks go up. Khaleesi raises the trophy, kisses his wristband. And now El Presidente is in there holding the trophy aloft. Look at that. What a fabulous sight. South Africa, 4-time Rugby World Cup winners. What a monumental effort. Amazing. So, anyways, what was I talking about? Yes, I live in Australia. These Wasted World of Sports broadcasts come to you from Australia. It's only fitting that we do get off topic momentarily and talk about the Wallabies. They are the victims of their own bollocks, basically. In all honesty, they've only got themselves to blame. The Wallabies, their problems started all the way back. We've got to go all the way back to 2003. Honestly, we have to go back that far because since 2003, it has just been a slow decline. It's taken a very rapid decline in the recent years, but we have to go all the way back to 2003. They started pilfering all those rugby league players. Rugby league players play rugby league for a reason. Okay? I love both sports. I cover both sports religiously on this channel. So we know that I love both games. And the reason I love both games is because they're very different games. Now, I was fortunate enough in my younger years to play both. I played both rugby union and rugby league. It is, and I'm not saying this to talk myself up because I never made it. I never made it to the part of playing professionally. It just never happened for me. I busted both my knees, dislocated both knees at different periods of time, and they still to this day require surgery that I've never had. That was the end of my playing career. But I'm saying it's very rare to get players that play both. And we found that out. Australia started pilfering all these league players. Wendell Saylor, Lottie Takiri, Nathan Blacklock, Israel Folau, Matt Rogers. Well, Matt Rogers was all right. Matt Rogers used to play rugby union in his junior days, so Matt Rogers is not part of this. But everyone else, terrible. They were awful. They were paying them millions of dollars to just come across and stink the joint out. I mean, Wendell Saylor, honestly, okay, he could run and charge over some defenders and score a couple of tries. But defensively, Wendell Saylor was probably one of the worst Wallabies wingers in history, defensively, overall. Tackle him and get him into a ruck, forget about it. He was more than capable of barging over the top of guys, but in general rugby play, awful. UFC, ahoy mate, good morning, how are you doing? And then player power, of course. Player power intervened. They had one of the greatest coaches in world rugby, Robbie Deans. They stole him away from New Zealand. New Zealand decided to back, what's his face? Graham Henry. New Zealand decided to back Henry. Robbie Deans was lost to New Zealand rugby. He was stolen by Rugby Australia. They had a fantastic coach. The players ran him off. And do you know how we know that Robbie Deans is still an amazing coach? Because he went off to Japan and he took his Japanese club team to win something like 8 in a row, God damn it. They had him. They ran him off. Ewan McKenzie, I believe it was, took over. Player uprising. They ran off Ewan McKenzie. Michael Checker takes over. Michael Checker does not have the troops. He doesn't have the team. He takes one of the worst Wallaby teams in World Cup history at the time through to the final. Against all the odds. Takes them through to the final. Should never have happened. They should never have been there. And then eventually Michael Checker just doesn't have the troops. He gets the sack. Michael Checker is doing wonders with Argentina. He is now lost to Australian rugby. Their problems, honestly, go all the way back to 2003. But anyway, that's probably a stream within itself, to be honest. Talking about the issues with Australian rugby. That is a stream within itself. Back to the main point here, though. 12 points to 11. South Africa have defeated the All Blacks. The first team to win 4 Rugby World Cups. They've gone back-to-back. This is a team built for tournament rugby, and they have done it once again. Congratulations to the Springboks. A big salute, and down the hatch we go for South Africa. Oh. All right, Wasted World of Sports. I'll have a quick break, and I'll be back to sign off here from the Rugby World Cup final. All right, Wasted World of Sports. What an absolute immense Rugby World Cup we have witnessed from start to finish. Literally, from start to finish. From that opening game, France versus the All Blacks, to the final, Springboks versus the All Blacks. It has been incredible. We have seen some of the best rugby matches that I've seen in a very long time. It has been a fantastic tournament from start to finish, and we got a final that delivered. Despite the red card, it still delivered. Well, the thing about Australia, we're going back to that again. We're going back to Australian rugby. Eugene Clark says Australia forgot how to identify talented youngsters at junior level and need to look at that. Start grassroots and invest in them. That's the thing, though, is over here, AFL, NRL, they can't compete. They cannot compete with that. And that's the problem for Australian rugby is these other codes, I think it would be harsh to say they don't exist in other countries, but they certainly don't exist to the level that we have here in Australia. Definitely not the 2 codes anyway. I mean, New Zealand's got rugby league as well, but let's be honest. I mean, come on. New Zealand, rugby union, rugby league is a blip on the radar. It's the complete opposite. And even in Europe, I mean, let's be honest, rugby league is secondary in Europe as well. I mean, feel free to correct me on that one, Dan Jam especially, who would be more attuned to the coverage over there. But from the outside looking in, it appears like rugby union is just a bigger sport in Europe in general as well, apart from maybe certain counties in England and whatnot. But so Australia's got a lot more competition to compete for the juniors, and they're losing terribly. Dante says it is poetic how the final would be between the two teams that have won 3 cups prior, though admittedly, I really want a new champion team. I honestly thought we were going to get one this Rugby World Cup, Dante. I really did. I thought it was Ireland versus France. UFC OnlyFans says league is getting more popular than, say, Super 15. In New Zealand, you mean? Only international games get more coverage than the league. Dan Jam says, yeah, Union is a lot bigger, and it's the international game that funds it. League doesn't really have that. Exactly. See, here in Australia, you've got a very solid NRL and AFL that are just dominating. And that's where it all starts. Look, Rugby Australia is not going anywhere anytime soon. Again, it's the international game. It's the international coverage. That's what funds it all. It's that international market. It's never, ever going away. All this talk about Rugby Australia going bankrupt and the sport dying in this country, nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Rugby Australia still has money coming out the wazoo, more than the NRL could ever hope to see in their lifetime. They have available to them because of that international market. But they just can't get the growth at grassroots because AFL and Rugby League just have that stranglehold over the junior systems. What Rugby Australia really need to do, because it's very privatised. For those of you joining us internationally, rugby in Australia, very privatised. And what I mean by that is you have to go to a private school to be able to play rugby union at junior level. You have to go to a private school. There are very, very few and select public clubs available. And it is not played in very many, if any, public schools. Where I went to school, we didn't have a school team for rugby union. It was only league. So that's something they need to fix up. They need to get into the schools publicly, try and get more players on board. Because even if you're interested, like all my mates, I was friends with a big crew of rugby people, but we couldn't play. Our only choice at school was rugby league. There was no rugby union in the system because we went to public school. Had we gone to private school, complete opposite. In the private schools, very hard to find a rugby league team. So it really neutralizes the spread at junior level by having that. They need to work on that. Anyways, enough about Australian rugby. It's going to take a big fix. I mean, somebody has got to come in and just revamp the entire bloody structure of rugby union in this country. You know who I think should do it? John Eales. John Eales is the man to do it. Anyway, going back to this game. 12 points to 11. What an incredible game we just witnessed. Seriously. This whole tournament, absolutely amazing. Thank you so much to each and every one of you that have been part of the waste of world of sports coverage. Where do we go now for rugby union? What's coming up in the world of rugby? Honestly, it's going to take some time to wind down after this. I know there's probably some do we really want to do the sevens tournaments though? I'm really not that interested in sevens. Talk about a diluted product. What killed sevens for me is when it became just an annual year-long tour. Dante says, I'm new to the channel. Who did you want to win the match, if you don't mind asking? Look, I'm an All Blacks supporter. Not going to lie about that. I predicted the Springboks would win, but I obviously would have been very happy if the All Blacks did get the victory. But absolutely no grudges against South Africa for the victory. They very well deserved. Dan Jam says the Northern season has just kicked off. The Champions Cup is going to be worth watching. I will take that on board, Dan Jam. Thank you very much. Champions Cup, eh? Let's see. Champions Cup. I'm going to look it up right now. So, Dan Jam, are we talking like similar starting times to the Rugby World Cup here? Champions Cup Rugby. European Rugby Champions Cup. Here we go. Let's see who's in here. I'm gonna cling myself to a team. Dante asks, so who are the three teams you cheer for? Okay, well, I can answer this very, very honestly. Okay, so I am Australian born and raised, right? But Irish and Kiwi heritage through family. And what used to happen, right, was I spent a lot of time when I was younger, when I was little, when I was just a wee little pup. I used to spend a lot of time with my grandmother on the Kiwi side of the family, watching rugby union, watching the cricket, going for New Zealand, because that side of the family was always going for New Zealand. So when it comes to rugby union, All Blacks, Ireland. Those are the teams that I cheer on. Rugby league's a little bit different, though, because in rugby league, watching with my dad, so I was more Australianised in rugby league circles. So I go for the Sharks, I go for the Panthers. I still go for New Zealand in the rugby league when it comes to internationals as well, but that's pretty much just for a laugh. So, yeah, I having such a widespread family heritage has allowed me to get behind all these different teams in different scenarios. It's pretty cool. Craig Jones, ahoy there. Craig Jones says that was intense and electric. All Blacks were the Bulls and the Box had to push. I loved it. It's been a fabulous tournament from start to finish, Craig Jones. Absolutely. From the very opening match, France and All Blacks, I think it's just been amazing. And we got a Rugby World Cup final that was very befitting of the tournament that we've had as a whole. It has been fabulous. I mean, really, honestly, some of the best rugby that I've witnessed. Really. Okay, so I'm checking this out. European Rugby Champions Cup. Right, so who's in it? Is this like a promotion and relegation type of system? Oh, you know what? I've heard of some of these teams. Racing 92 wasn't Dan Carter over there with Racing for a little while? Or have I got that wrong? Have I got that horribly wrong? Top teams from each league, says Dan Jam. Dan Carter did play for them. There you go. UFC only fans talking about the Rugby World Cup says it wouldn't have been as good without you, D Cash. Cheers, mate. Wow. Honestly, it is so bright in here. I probably don't even need the studio lights anymore. I'm not used to streaming with the sun so bright outside the window here. 7:55 in the AM. What a life, eh? Wasted world of sports life. What a life it is. Who can say that they can cover the rugby and get on the Terps at 7:55 AM? Dante asks, are you excited for Squidge's video? Okay. Legitimate question. Who or what is a squidge? And I don't mean that in any derogatory way whatsoever. I just honestly do not know. Dim lights would be a vibe. Oh, let's go for some, like, serious mood lighting, UFC. Now that you're here, I will... Forgive me, I'm going to be extremely weird here for a moment. Let's go Squidge Rugby. Another YouTube channel I'm gathering. And once again, I do apologize. I do not know any other YouTubers. And I apologize for that. I really do need to be more active in the community, in the YouTube community. I fully admit that. But honestly, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I do not know Squidge Rugby, and I apologize for that. I feel like I should. Okay, let's go. Let's find some mood lighting here. Whoa, okay, that's kind of creepy. Oh! There we go. The lights are off. Oh, here we go. That's what I was looking for. A nice red haze. A nice red haze, UFC. And let me just drop my voice down even deeper. We've got that nice red background. I will drop my voice. We'll go even lower. Welcoming you to the Wasted World of Sports Love Lounge. All right. Things just got extremely weird, and I apologize for that. It is way too early, and I've had way too much to drink, and I should not be allowed to still be active. All right. Sorry, that was very loud. Wasted World of Sports, I will draw this to a close. If there's any more questions in the chat room or any other topics that you would like to discuss, fire away. Fire away. Feel free to. Otherwise, we will call it quits here, and I will go and have a very, very well-earned rest and unwind and continue to drink. Well, I can tell you what, coming up on the channel, Rugby League, Fiji, I believe, are playing Papua New Guinea in the Rugby League. That's going to be a fantastic match this afternoon. That will be in, what is it, 8 o'clock now? So 9, yeah, sorry, I have to count on my fingers. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so in about 7 or so hours... In about 7 hours, we'll be back. Wasted World of Sports. Fiji versus Papua New Guinea. I'm pretty sure it is. Coming up in the Rugby League Pacific Championship. The red mood lighting will probably be gone by then. Yes, it is. Okay, PNG versus Fiji. Rugby League Pacific Championship. That will be the next stream here on the Wasted World of Sports. South Africa, the Springboks have done it. Rugby World Cup champions once more. Back to back, they've gone 4 times Rugby World Cup winners. Congratulations to the Springboks for the All Blacks desperately falling short by just one single solitary point. What a match it was. What a fantastic tournament it has been as a whole. Thank you so much, Wasted World of Sports subscribers and followers, for joining me throughout this tournament. More rugby coming up. I'll find something to follow. Dan Jam has suggested the European Championship there, so I might check that out, because there are probably a lot of players that I actually know, because it's where all the expat players go to retire, isn't it? So, kind of like the English Super League in Rugby League, where all the ex-NRL players head over and they go to retire. So that might be well worth checking out. Wasted World of Sports, thank you so much. I appreciate your company. As always, it has been an absolute pleasure to bring you this Rugby World Cup tournament from start to finish. Bob Money says Dan Carter would have never missed that kick. Dan Carter would never have dropped the balls that Richie Mo'unga dropped. Richie Mo'unga cannot lace Dan Carter's boots, but then very few people can. Wasted World of Sports, thank you so much. What a fabulous tournament it's been. And I will catch you all very soon. Cheers.